I want to talk about the issue of migration, and it's a very, very serious issue and a very, very delicate issue as well. Aontú was the first political party to raise the damage that the government is doing in terms of this issue over the last while. They seemed to take no interest in it until the polls said that 70% of the population were simply not happy with what the government is doing. We put in the parliamentary questions in relation to the government's actions, and they were shocking. We asked a question in relation to how many people who have failed the deportation asylum system, how many of those people have had deportation actions. And the government said only 15% of people who received a deportation order had those deportations actions, which is an incredible figure. We also found out that 5,000 people have come through Dublin Airport last year without a passport or a travel document. Another incredible figure. We asked as well, what is the situation in terms of how people are coming into the country? And we found out that 75% of people coming into the country, the government doesn't know. And we asked the minister, why not? And she said, because we don't ask the question. Now, for the government not to be managing an issue of this importance is hammering the confidence of the people. And just in the last couple of days, we found out that actually 80% of the people are actually coming through the north of Ireland. We actually raised that a year and a half ago, but the minister would not listen to us in relation to that. There is breathtaking incompetence in this. People who genuinely need asylum are actually being forced to wait years for their first application to be made, and maybe are 10 years in the system. Many of them are going into direct provision and can't actually leave there because of a housing crisis as well. Now today, we found out, this embargo is till 5 o'clock so I can say it out loud, we found out that Rishi Sunak has said this shocking sentence. He says that the British Rwanda policy is working because now it's leading to an influx of migrants into the south of Ireland. Now that is wrong on so many levels. I don't even know where to start in relation to that. It's an unacceptable statement. But I will say this, Aontú has said from the start that Ireland must be treated as a unit, north and south, in terms of migration. There must be an Irish sea border with regards to the movement of people. If the government of the European Union could provide an Irish sea border for goods, services and sausages, they should be able to provide an Irish sea border for people as well. And that is our goal. Every month there seems to be a crisis in another town in the country. Some of the people involved are ordinary people with ordinary concerns. We want the government to start listening to them, to start talking to them, and to start consulting them. But I will say this, there's a small amount of extremists in this country as well, and they're seeking to ferment discontent caused by this government, and they must be opposed as well. The colour of a person's skin is of no more significance than the colour of their skin. To work in partnership with communities is actually creating a petri dish of rumour currently around the country. And the valuable contributions that so many people who have come to Ireland over the last few years is seemingly being forgotten about by some people in Ireland, and that's wrong. We need to make sure that we have a system based on compassion and common sense, but the government have kicked that common sense out of the equation for the last number of years, unfortunately. I want to talk about the issue of the EU Migration Pact as well before I finish this issue. And this is important. The government wants to outsource the control of the migration system to the EU. Now, when I challenged the Taoiseach in relation to this in the Dáil the other day, he said, Peadar, he says, the island of Ireland is a small island in the middle of the ocean. Sure, we won't be able to handle such a big issue by ourselves. And I stood up and said, I'm sure there's plenty of people like you, Simon, who said the same thing to Padraig Pearse, Michael Collins, and Eamon De Valera back in 1960. Nobody knows what kind of challenges we're going to have in the next number of years in relation to migration. But we do know, if we have self-determination, we will be able to control those laws, and we will be able to mitigate some of the challenges that we receive. But if we hand over those powers to the European Union, we no longer have any say. No say over in relation to how many people come to the country, or the financial contribution that we have to make. And I asked the Taoiseach, how much will it cost? And he said he did not know. Now, if I wanted to get a park bench from my local park in Navan, and I wanted to get a grant from it, they would say to me, Peadar, I want 3 quotations from you to tell me how much it's going to cost. And here was the minister signing up politically to a project in which he doesn't even know the cost of. We do not agree with the EU Migration Pact, and if the government want to proceed with it, they should put it before the people in way of referendum.